Like have that idea or like realize, oh, that's the person I need to reach out to,
it's a
or
cliche,
I should have asked this question.
but you really start with
There was
the
a
people
story
you know
a few months ago
your
now
immediate
about a woman named Sandra Bland.
It's hot and it's horrible, and you know you've got food poisoning because it's India, and you arrive in this village, you know, turning your tape on, and there's wailing. There's just wailing, such volume of wailing, and you're taken round and shown the 5 bodies, all with their throats slit, lying all over the village. I mean. You know, that was one that was a movie, but you kind of thought, well, we've got an opening. I've been musing on it, you know. I mean, society puts this number 65 and it hangs out there, and even though it's not compulsory anymore, whereas it was once upon a time, it infuses you. I remember Rick McInnes-Ray, the news person, more or less saying if you're out there in the field playing around in war zones past 50, you better have a little think about that.
What's he saying?
They shot and also cut the throats.
They were shot and their throats were cut.
Three bodies are here.
3 bodies are here.
And the 3 bodies, I mean 3 persons were taken away to the fields, and there they were.
So there are six people killed
Yeah,
altogether.
6 people killed altogether.
And this happened last night?
Yeah.
3 bodies lying in pools of blood on the road in front of us. The other 3 were taken away and murdered in the fields. This is Rangapur in the state of Bihar, part of what they call the cow belt that stretches east from Delhi across northern India. A stretch of territory where cows are sacred, and on days like this it seems not much else is.
First they were asked which caste they belong, and then they were killed.
What is their caste?
Bhumiyars.
Okay.
Bhumiyar Brahmins.
Okay.
And this was Moroccan refugees. Oh no, refugees from sub-Saharan Africa who were now in Morocco, trying to get out, but trying to stay alive. Ukraine and orphanages. 20 years after the fall of the wall. I suppose I've been making documentaries, really, I was going to say for only 25 years, but I didn't start till midway through my time at CBC. Oh, well, I was a freelancer. I did theater reviews on the Ottawa Morning Show. The poster from the opening of the Shaw Festival's new theater. That's me. Yeah, with my mouth open, however. And began freelancing again, and eventually moved over into, for want of a better word, serious current affairs. Well, the way things are, and have been for a long time with Sunday Edition and Sunday Morning, its precursor, you work very much alone. So you're part of a unit, and when there are story meetings, you're part of that to some degree, not that much anymore. But really, you know, you go out, you get your tape, you come back, and you sit down, and you lock yourself in a room for 2 weeks. And, you know, and you try and create a piece, you know. And this guy was the fixer in Mozambique. He's a good guy. And of course, at that time, everybody was working with 1/4-inch tape. How's that? Jacksonville, Ocala, Florida. That was the Obama election, which we did down there. Grease pencils and the sticky stuff that you glue the bits of tape together with, right? So. Memorable bits. There's all sorts of things you do remember. But, you know, sometimes it's people have rehearsed those answers. What do I love about radio docs? Very hard to say. I mean, usually I hate it. I like going out in the field. I like going out there and talking to people and figuring stuff out and discovering that it's not at all the way you thought. It's all completely different. You know, that part is great. And I hate coming back here and sitting at the damn computer and trying to, you know, figure out a structure with endless pieces of paper and figure out how to make it work. Sound, I mean, and sound, you've got to have sound. You've got to have real sound, not fake sound, and everywhere has sound, absolutely everywhere. Don't, you know, you can't say, oh, it's just this. Well, yeah, and you invite people to move and to show and to move off mic and to turn, and that creates a sense of space. Yeah.
Zloglasna Romania.
So I know that roads are terrible, but they say they're...
The car is full as we set out from Sarajevo. There is Iqbala, the translator, and 3 of this unquiet group of women. Moyasera and Ziba in the back, and driving the car, the woman who started it all, Bakira Hasecic. 53 years old, short blonde hair with a face carved out of stone. She was raped 3 times, her house was burnt down, she was beaten. She joined the army, she was shot. The muscles in her arm ripple as she takes the corners.
Ja nisam žene uopšte obavijestila, iće ja I još jedna žena, ićemo na jedan teren, treba da nešto završimo.
We are going to chase war criminals. Government and officials claim that these men are not available for public persecution, but we don't believe that, and we will seek the truth.
The trouble was that not everybody was going to be prosecuted, and you couldn't really convince Bakira of that. So she was going to make sure they were. So we went with her back into the Serbian part of Bosnia, where many of these rapes had taken place. 2 carloads of women. Rape is an inadequate word. You had women talking about watching their husbands have their tongues cut out.
She's not intimidated by anyone. She knows every phone number in the prosecutor's office in The Hague. They know her at the court in Sarajevo. She has been loud and unrelenting. This is what happened. What are you going to do about it?
Bakira, she was one of the first witnesses in The Hague against people who raped them. And she's probably the first one who gave her story in full. Many people don't want to go to be witnesses in The Hague or anywhere else. They're too afraid or they're too disappointed.
There were rape camps where 6 out of hundreds of women survived. And she was convinced she knew where one of these men lived, and she was going to go and take photographs and give those to the World Court people and hope they were prosecuted. So off we went. And heard these bits and pieces, heard these stories. She took the photographs, which of course didn't mean much, really didn't. But along the way, we also went up to one of the rape camps. There was a man jogging along the road. It was a sunny, it was a beautiful day. It was all rehabilitated. This rape camp was now a spa, which was built as a hotel. And we saw him again running up by this, and we were hearing these stories. And we came back down to the river, and we stopped at a graveyard that had a newly dug grave, which was Bakira's sister, who had been absconded, taken away, killed, her head chopped off 10 years earlier. And they had just, through that amazing DNA program, forensic DNA, found her and brought her back, and Bakira had buried her recently. This was the first time she'd visited the grave. And as we stepped out onto the road, Bakira is a well-known figure. The man came running by again, just any jogger.
The jogger comes along the road, body glistening with sweat. He's a man in his 40s. He reaches Bakira just as she steps out onto the road. He turns, looks at her, and spits in her face.
He's warned her. So he's insulting her.
How so?
Bad insults.
What is he saying? He said things to her?
He's swearing to her, and she's swearing back.
An old man suddenly materializes and gets between the jogger and Bakira.
Whew. Whew. Let's pick her up there. she would have hit him, kicked him. I was like, pfft. And I mean, it was a real kind of pulling it all apart. She was tough. I mean, tough, and, I mean, strong, tough. No, she existed by getting angry. Yeah, so it was, but it was one of those when you thought, thank God I didn't turn the tape recorder off, you know? My job is to tell the story. That's it. That's what you're there to do. You know, you're not the best friend. You're not there to preach. You're not there to solve everybody's problems. None of that. You're there to tell the story.